For problem number 7, it gives you two functions and it asks you to find the following composite functions and state the domain of each. So it wants f composed of g composed of f composed of f, and g composed of g. So let me begin, and I will first show you how to do f composed of g. Okay. I will try to color code everything to make it be very readable. I just hope it doesn't take up a lot of time. Okay, so this is basically f of g of x. So that means that we're going to put g of x inside of f. Okay, so first, let's start with okay, so f of x was 6x plus 1, 6x plus 1, but then we plugged g of x, which was x squared, into where there was the x. So now let's go ahead and put it all together, and it would be 6x squared plus 1. So that's your function, and it asks for the domain of it. Now, since it's not a rational, the domain would be that x is an element of the reals, or the domain is all real numbers, because there's no discontinuities or restrictions. Now let's do g of f of x. So this is actually g of x, or sorry, g of x with f of x inside of it. So I'm going to move all this up. Okay, so if you just recall, g of x was x squared and f of x was 6x plus 1. So we get g of x, or sorry, we get f of x and we plug it in g of x. So we have, and then g of x was squared, Now I tried plugging this into it and it wants you to simplify it, so I got it wrong. So let's go ahead and actually FOIL that out. So we have 6x plus 1 times 6x plus 1. So we FOIL it and we get 36x squared plus 6x plus 6x plus 1. Combine the middle and you get 36x squared plus 12x plus 1. Now since that's not a rational, it doesn't have any restrictions, and the domain is all real numbers, or the way I put it, x is the element of real. Okay, let me get another piece of paper, and let's do f composed of f. F composed of f, or f of x. Okay, so basically, remember x was 6x plus 1, so 6. I'm going to denote the inner function with red. So we plug it into the x of that function. So now let's go ahead and distribute this x. We get 36x plus 6 plus 1. Let's combine these. 36x plus 7. So that is your function for f of x. And since that's not a rational, it has no domain restrictions, and its domain is all real numbers, or x is an element of the real. Okay, one more. We have g of x. Which can be written as g of x, g composed of g. Okay, so g was x squared, so that's that squared with an x squared inside of it. Now remember, when you have a power raised to a power, they basically just add. So that equals x to the 4th. And that, since it's not irrational, it has no restriction, and its domain is all reals, x is an element of the real. And that is how you do composition.